Today is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. It is also Yom Shlishi, third day of the week. The fourth day of Av, 5785, and it's Parshat Devarim. The Parsha of Devarim, starting the book of Devarim. And we are in the 9 days, as it is referred to. And this is the PL-89 lunar and solar calendar and Julian calendar and Daf Yomi calendar based on the planet Mercury. And rather than explain about the calendar, which I do most of the time, I'll go straight to the Gematria. On this calendar, in this dispensation, we are in box 34, which would represent the fourth day of the month of Av. Av starts here, and so it's Av 1, which is 8, Av 2, which is 17, Av 3, which is 25, it's yesterday, and Av 4, which is today. And in July 29th, we'd be right here somewhere. It's a 10-day twilight period because in this dispensation, the new year, the new mercurial cycle, or new Mercury year, or season, or PL-89 thought year, however you want to call it, starts from the fixed months. Starts from months like August, February, November, or May. Those fixed months. So we just started a new Mercury year over here, and now, and since it's lunar and solar, we started the month of Av just recently, last Shabbat, and we're going to start August very soon, in just a couple of days. Today's the 29th, so 30th, 31st, and then it's going to be, August 1st is going to be here, August 2nd, and then Av will already be over here somewhere. Today, I'll just focus on the box 34, which represents the fourth day of any fixed month in Dispensation 2. A major thesis of the PL-89 calendar is unification of the sun and the moon. Please see Psalm 72, which talks about specifically Yinon. And it says that before the coming of the sun, and before the moon, Yinon Shemo, that's what this calendar is. It's thematic of that, which deals with the sun and the moon. And a major thesis in this Gematria is proving the the foundational or very deeply encoded secrets. I guess in that sense it's mystical or mysterious, but I'm looking for the right word. The rich, meaningful, encoded nature of the English language that is tantamount, which means it's equal to Hebrew. And many people say, and I would agree, that Hebrew is the holy language. It is a holy language, and it is the holy language, or maybe the most holy language. Let's just say that. But I don't know how many people would be willing to say that English itself is a holy language. They would say that words are just whatever, they don't mean anything. But this, if English is analyzed at a mathematical level, we can see otherwise. But the thing is, it's based on the Hebrew. That's the thing. It's English. It's based on Hebrew. Not to say that it's Hebrew words within English. It's based on the thinking of Hebrew. For example, the word David. It only works out according to a certain fact in Tanakh, in the Bible, if you use English letters. Because if you read, it's in, I forget the chapter and verse, but it's in Samuel, I think also in Chronicles, that David reigned for 40 years. And if you take the English gematria of the word David, meaning English meaning A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, okay, D is 4, A is 1, and then all the way till Z, which is 26. D is 4, A is 1, B is 22, I is 9, and D is 4. That will equal 40. That means that only in the English language does it match up that King David reigned for 40 years, because David equals 40 in English gematria. So I'm not inclined to think that that's an accident. Something like that is what I mean. So I actually have a focus on both kinds of gematria. This is a gematriatic thought calendar. Every day is a box where gematriatic thought occurs, but I'm actually have an emphasis on mining out, as it were, extracting out the holy sparks, to use a Kabbalistic terminology, Kabbalistic term, mining out, extracting the holy sparks of English language and showing how they're connected to Hebrew or biblical truth. And since today is 34, there's a few English words that, and when we're trying to do data analysis gematriatically, it can be confusing, because if you run the numbers, let's say you run a word, you run a certain number, and then you get a bunch of words, you get hundreds of words that equal that number, you will find that a lot of words are similar, they're synonyms, but then you'll find absolute opposites, to total opposites, and some that are like have nothing to do with it. Everything in between. The point, and people will try to, and I could see where they're coming from, to debunk gematria and say that gematria is silly because you're basing your truth find on matching numbers, when in fact, if you run one number, you can get a bunch of numbers, a bunch of words that have nothing to do with each other. But the reason why I override that and still think that gematria is a valid and viable means of finding truth through words and matching words together is that there's an overwhelming theme of a certain number. If you take in all the words, good and bad, and you see why they're connected and why they're not connected, and even the ones that are neutral, sometimes you have to put them aside. But let's take an example, 34, since today is 34. The word in English gematria for the word free is 34. And I was looking on the web and I was seeing things about digital currencies and about banks and about certain various hierarchies that don't have the best intentions for humanity, trying to control. This is nothing new. But the word free is equal to 34 in English gematria. The word grace is also, grace is something that's freely given. And it's called the gematriatic thought calendar because it should go in alignment with the thoughts of the day. I didn't necessarily think that today would equal 34. I wasn't paying attention to that consciously. But I'm reading about currencies, and specifically today, because I know it's the hot topic that you could say any day that could come up. But today specifically, someone was writing an article about methods of control and one world government and coins, things like that. So 34 is grace, 34 equals free. And there is a name attributed to God that is, since I'm coming from the Hebrew or Jewish mind frame, they have a custom not to say it straight. So out of respect, but I think in prayer you can say it respect, but Y-A-H is also 34. And we know that grace comes from God. But what's interesting is that the word Allah, A-L-L-A-H, is also 34, which is also very similar to a Hebrew pronunciation of Aleph Lamed. And the word one is 34. And so the person in the Matrix who kind of saved the day, the character of Keanu Reeves, his name was Neo, which is really an anagram of the word one. So if you look at the Matrix and you see the controllers, I forgot what they were called now, the bad guys basically, who just basically controlled everybody. They and it's similar to our world today. It's like the digital currency and the banks and all these different hierarchies of control, and so you see these interplays, and also the word hate. And God is definitely not hate. God is love, but hate is an opposite, but it's equal to 34. So it's not always that the numbers match. You have to know how to compare and contrast them in the right way. So, what else? I'm looking for some other words here. Yeah, that's basically it. Grace, free. You can see how they're very connected. YAH. For some reason, when I say Allah, it doesn't carry the same. I mean, it's similar, but it doesn't have the same. Because it's not the Jewish thing. I guess that's probably why. The word hate is also 34, and hate is definitely not in that category. But you have to see how it's connected by its opposite, and then the word one. The word one, and I guess dark also. I guess in the dark forces would actually would gravitate towards the hate. Hate and dark. Dark is equal to 34 as well. And so those are my finds for the gematriatic calendar for today. Oh, one more thing. I just noticed that heat is 34 and cold is 34. Those are opposites. But again, they have the same. They're connected. They're related in the fact that they're opposites.